Hey, Spartan fans, welcome into this latest edition of the Michigan State Spartans Insider Podcast. I'm your beat reporter for Michigan State Spartans on SI, Aidan Champion, and we're 2 days out from Michigan State's second game of the season, this one against Boston College, a revenge game. Spartans hosting the Eagles, going to be a primetime matchup, 7:30, going to be featured on NBC. And this is a big one. I talked about yesterday, my last episode, that this is going to be Michigan State's first big test. We're going to learn a lot about where this team kind of stands right now at this point in the season. We don't necessarily get that from the Western Michigan game. It's week one, it's a much more inferior opponent. This one, you're going to know a lot about. Um, what where Michigan State has improved this offseason, how they're different from last year. You got a tough Boston College team, and then you've got a Michigan State team that showed signs of improvement last week, but there's still some areas that it struggled in. Can and improve those areas while this is the big challenge, while remaining consistent and still having success in the areas that you did last week, like the run game. Um, so I'm gonna predict who I think is gonna lead the team in certain or in the main stat categories, because we were kind of maybe a little surprised with where guys finished last week. I don't think many anticipated Omari Kelly being the leading receiver in that week one matchup. Nick Marsh was kind of an afterthought. And then at the time, we didn't really know what the running back, the distribution of snaps there was going to look like. Mekhi Frazier ended up leading the way, had over 100 rushing yards. Um, and then defense, I mean, everyone got in on the action. Ultimately, it was Jordan Hall who led the way with tackles. Also had 2.5 for loss, had a sack. So let's look at where I believe things are going to stack up in the stat sheet this week. I do think that it will be Nick Marsh's turn this week to kind of take the reins in the receiving room. It's what a lot of people anticipated last week. I think this will be the game that he does, quote unquote, break out. He's already proven how good he can be. We saw his impressive freshman season, and that's a big reason so many people are high on him, or were high on him going into this year, still are high on him. And I think he will still finish the season as the leading receiver for Michigan State. I think he leads the team in receiving this week. I don't think Michigan State takes a huge step from last week in terms of the pass game. I don't think that's something that necessarily happens overnight. And I don't, I think it will be better. I think I'm anticipating at least, 200 passing yards, but I don't think it's going to be something where all of a sudden you're seeing everything you wanted to see last week with this plethora of wide receivers getting in on the action. Um, and the pass game just really opening up. I think it will open up more this week. I think they'll show you some things that you didn't see last week, but ultimately, I don't think it will be a huge night and day difference. But yeah, I do think Nick Marsh will lead in receiving yards. I'm anticipating maybe around the 70s range. I still think Omari Kelly gets in on the action, just doesn't have the same level of success he had last week. I don't think it will be his fault. I just don't think he'll be as much of an emphasis. Like I said, I think it'll open the playbook up more, and there'll be opportunities to find Nick Marsh deep down the field. And I think there'll be an intent to get in the ball this game. As far as receiving touchdowns, um, I'm thinking Jack Velling, and I know you may be scratching your heads at that, considering he only had one reception for 3 yards last week. He wasn't a huge emphasis. He was still coming off an injury that kept him out for most of fall camp, and now he's got a week under his belt. I think he's going to be incorporated more this week. They were there was an emphasis in that second quarter of getting Michael Masunis the ball last week down in the red zone. I think they're going to continue to stick with that, finding tight ends down in the red zone, and uh, I think that Jack Velling is going to thrive off that. I think he'll have at least one receiving touchdown, if not two. So that's kind of what I'm anticipating with that. I know last year he only had one touchdown reception. Definitely think he will have more this year. Um, but I think this is the game that we see that, yeah, Jack Felling is here and he is going to make a major impact on this team this year. And he's going to show signs of being able to meet those expectations this year as one of the best tight ends in the country. Um, so that's kind of where I'm looking offensively. Mekhi Frazier still think he's going to lead in rushing yards. I don't necessarily think it will be 100 again. But I don't think they'll necessarily take a step back in the run game. Just may not um, emphasize it as much this week. I think it'll be relatively balanced between the run and the pass. So yeah, offensively, that's kind of where I'm looking. Like I said, at least 200 passing yards from Aiden Childs. Um, Defensively, I think Jordan Hall is still going to be your leading tackler. I think he's going to carry that momentum over from last week. It's clear that he took a major step this offseason. I think that's only going to continue. I anticipate a big year from Jordan Hall. Um, he's just a very talented linebacker and great communicator back there, commanding the defense. I think he's gonna really have his hands all over this one. And then um, Alex Van Sumeren, I think, is going to lead the team in terms of tackles for loss and sacks. I just, for whatever reason, I foresee him just wreaking havoc up front, getting pressure on the quarterback, making it a tough night for the interior offensive line for Boston College. And I think he's going to have a big game. Um, that's That's kind of what I see in that area. And then, I think the secondary will get at least one interception this week. Last week, Wayne Matthews was able to get an interception, and um, I know that was pretty cool for fans to see. It was great for him, but I think the secondary now needs to step up in terms of making plays on the ball. They had some nice breakups last week. Now, can you force turnovers? I think the pressure is going to be solid up front, starting with Alex Van Sumeren, and the secondary will be able to benefit off that. So I think at least one pick from Michigan State's defensive backfield in this matchup. Those are the areas I'm looking at. These are strictly predictions, not based off of too much necessarily, but more so gut feeling or just maybe trends. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm looking at going into this one. Gonna be a very big game, and Michigan State to prove that they have improved and are a different team than last year. You gotta win this game. Find a way to win. If it gets close towards the end, find a way to win. Gonna be the name of the game. So, and can't beat yourselves because that's what happened last year against Boston College. I hope you guys are excited for this one. This should be a really good matchup. Good, like I said, good test for Michigan State. Gonna be their first true test, and yeah, prime time. I think fans are gonna show out. Spartan Stadium's gonna be electric again, and I hope you're all having a great week. I hope you're getting excited for game day, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.